Sun settings specify the position of the sun. You can specify sun settings for solar studies, walkthroughs, and rendered images by using controls in the Sun Settings dialog or by manipulating the sun's path using on-screen controls. To adjust the sun settings, I'll click to expand the Visual Style control on the View control bar. The first option in the menu is Graphic Display Options. When you choose this option, Revit displays the Graphic Display Options dialog. Under Lighting, when I click Sun Settings, Revit displays the Sun Settings dialog. I'll click Cancel to close this dialog and then click Cancel to close the Graphic Display Options dialog. When you click Sun Path on the View control bar, you can see that the flyout menu includes an option called Sun Settings. This option takes you directly to the Sun Settings dialog. In the Solar Study section, you can select the mode you want to use. For example, you can create a solar study based on a still image at a specific location at a single date and time. A study based on a single day between specified hours. Or a study that spans multiple days between specified hours. If you choose Lighting, instead of creating a study based on a specific geographic location, you can base the sun settings on azimuth and altitude values. I'll switch back to a still image. When you select Still, Single Day, or Multi-Day, in the Settings section, you can then specify the location, date, and time. When you click the More button to the right of the Location field, Revit displays the Location, Weather, and Site dialog. On the Location tab, you can specify the location of the project by using the Internet Mapping Service, which requires an internet connection, or select the location from a city list. I'll click Cancel to close this dialog without making any changes. In the Presets section, in addition to the In-Session selection, which uses the values you specify in the Settings section, you can choose one of the predefined presets, which automatically adjusts the settings for specific dates and times, such as the summer solstice. If you switch to a single day study, there are similar presets for key dates, but now the time changes to a span of several hours. While you cannot change these presets, you can duplicate and rename them, and then change the settings to suit your needs. You can also select In Session, adjust the settings, and then click Save Settings to save your specific settings as a new preset. I'll click Cancel to close the Sun Settings dialog, and then go back to the Graphic Display Options dialog. In the Lighting section, you can control the intensity of the sunlight and the intensity of ambient light. And if shadows are enabled, you can also adjust the darkness of shadows. I'll close this dialog. You can also display a sun path diagram and then use the diagram as a guide to help you create solar studies, or as a visual indicator showing the sun's movement across the sky by date, time, and location. To enable the sun path diagram, on the View control bar, click Sun Path and choose Sun Path On. The sun path diagram immediately becomes visible. I'll right-click and select Zoom to Fit so that you can see the entire diagram. The sun path diagram can be viewed in plans, elevations, and section views, in 3D views, and in perspective views. Realize that the diagram is actually interactive. You can click in the field adjacent to the sun symbol and adjust the time of day, or click in the field at the east end of the east-west axis and change the date, or click the arrow and then choose a specific date from a calendar. Note that the geographic location is based on your current project location. Selecting the actual project location is therefore important if you want to create accurate solar studies. When you select the sun path itself, then in the Properties palette, you can adjust its size as a percentage relative to the view. Also, when I deselect the sun path and then scroll down in the Properties palette, you can see that this particular view has its orientation set to Project North, so the axes of the sun path are at an angle relative to the view. I'll open the view named True North, and then turn on the sun path. As you can see, in this view, the orientation is set to True North, so the sun path north-south axis is vertical, and the building itself is now rotated approximately 20 degrees relative to True North. As long as the building is oriented properly in relation to True North, when you turn on shadows, they will be accurate. I'll open the default 3D view, turn on the sun path, and then orbit around a bit so that you can see that the sun path is actually displayed in 3D. Again, you can select the field adjacent to the sun symbol and change the time of day, or the field at the end of the east-west axis to change the date. You can also click and drag the sun symbol and simply move it along its daily path, thus changing the time of day. The sun path is divided into 15-minute increments from sunrise to sunset. Also, when you click the sun symbol, Revit displays a figure 8-shaped path called an analemma, which represents the position of the sun at the same time every day over the course of the year. You can drag the sun symbol along this path to change the date. And then, once you've changed the date, you can move the sun along its daily path to change the time of day. Any changes you make by adjusting the sun along its path will also appear in the Sun Settings dialog for this view. To see the effect of the sun's position, on the View control bar, click Shadows to turn shadows on. Now, as I change the position of the sun along its path, the shadows update. When you turn shadows on, Revit needs to recalculate the shadows every time you make a change. This can significantly slow Revit's performance, so you should only turn shadows on when necessary.